Hello. Hello there, my people. My people in Twice Married Brother land. It's been a while. Welcome to the Twice Married Brother podcast. And today, we're going to do something a little different. There is a friend, a wonderful woman, a wife, a daughter of the Most High. She loves the Lord. Very sensible sister. And I don't know if we're going to not see eye to eye on some things today, but I just love to have different voice saying some of the things we need to be said and some things she may observe about some videos we're going to share with you today. Might be helpful to some of you out there. So anyway, a little bit about her. Her name is Orianna Dixon, and beautiful lady. And I'm not going to talk too much more. I'm going to bring her right on. And let me find her. Here she is. Orianna, welcome to the Twice Married Brother podcast.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on, Carl. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it. So, Orianna always sends me things through Instagram, these videos. In fact, a lot of times she sends me things and I share it right to my Twice Married Brother IG. So I thought it'd be interesting to have her come on and comment about some of the more popular posts on the platform. So how are you today, Miss Orianna?
I am doing well out here in sunny California. We are having a bit of a heat wave up here in the Bay Area, but it's been great. I'm a summer girl, California girl, so I like it. Can't complain.
So before we get started, I want the audience to know a little bit about you. So you were married to my frat brother, my main man, Thomas Griffin. There he is right there.
Yes,
God
my Thomas.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah, man. Married for 13 years, together for 18 before he passed away April 6, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Wow.
So this August 7th would have been our 19th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's been 5 years already?
5 years. Some days, I should say moments, and not even days, those who know deep grief. Some moments it feels like it just happened, and then other moments it does feel like, wow, 5 years ago, it was so long ago. But It's moment by moment, but I'm definitely doing better than I was 5 years ago.
Well, I have to say, and I've said this in some form over the years, you are such a good wife. And I mean that in the present tense, because that's just a quality you just embody. The way you supported and loved your husband through a very difficult time and illness, and loved him just all the way to the end, was just remarkable to watch and encouraging.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. You're a wife. You are really a wife. So you know what this wife thing means.
And I always say that. I'm still a wife. I just don't have a husband, but I'm still a wife.
That's right. You are.
I was like, I didn't become a wife when I married Thomas. I became Thomas's wife when I married Thomas, but I've always been a wife.
That's right. I love it. And the same is true for husbands. I tell my single friends who say they're looking for wives. I don't know if they're really looking for wives or not, but I tell them, become a husband first.
Yes.
And the first order of leadership when choosing a wife is knowing how to choose a wife and knowing the wife that fits your life. That's the first order of leadership. And sometimes, women have different motives than may suit either a marriage or suit us. And I think that can be problematic, which is what we're kind of talking about today. Yeah. So you send me videos all the time. You always are looking in my box, and there's another video. So this one I'm going to share. It's a little long, but I want our audience to know what we're talking about as a frame of reference. So let me drop it in and start it, and then we're going to see where we go from here. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, babe. I got a question. Why don't men approach women anymore?
Why don't men approach women anymore?
Yes.
So we're speaking like...
Yeah, just generally speaking, like the overall consensus that I get.
So it's coming from a man?
Coming from a man.
Okay. Men for the last generation have been subtly, continually trained to not approach women. And it's happened over years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the whole independent woman, the whole feminist movement that impacted the aforementioned movement has made a lot of women in the West very unpleasant. I don't think women, generally speaking, not you or an individual, but generally, respect the presence of the masculine energy. If a man, so what happens is over time, women stop being pleasant because women became less feminine. I think a feminine characteristic is to be welcoming of the masculine energy. Now that does not take away from the fact that men can be ABC 1, 2, 3, but we're looking at this one-dimensionally being that you asked. So over time, the more and more women approach women, the more and more men approach women, the neck rolling, the lip smacking, the he's trying to talk to me, the I'm not gonna say nothing. Over time, that programs a man. So when you couple that in terms of male and female interactions publicly, grocery store, drugstore, on the streets, to where women aren't receptive to masculine energy, what's going to happen? They're going to stop talking to them. And what are men going to do? They're going to look elsewhere. So this is why you see the juxtaposition between a lot of traveling men who juxtapose American women with foreign women. And they always look for the what? More feminine. So what are they talking about? Latin America, Africa, Brazil, Thailand. Okay, now is it that the valuation of women in the West is down? No, but I mean, that's what's happening. You get to the point to where, you don't even want that interaction. Like, I ain't gonna say nothing to her. So men have been trained to do that. So voila, women were a part of that. Are women to blame? No, I'm not sitting up here saying all women are to blame, but if you are a guy and you always trying to talk to a woman and she's short, curt, don't want to talk to you, what you think's gonna happen? If you keep kicking me, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna stay away from your foot. So what's happening is men are now approaching women in a different type of way digitally. It's easier to DM a woman because you don't have to deal with the rejection of it.
The ego of the
and I
rejection.
think that if we can get to the point where men and women respect each other, if a man, there never should be a reason why a man should speak to a woman and she doesn't speak back, ever. If he's rude, if he's unkind, that's a completely different. I'm talking about just speaking. Do you know how many often that happens? So that's my answer.
That's what y'all think?
I know, they gonna say what they gonna say, but that's what I think.
All right. So much to unpack there. And since you are the guest, ladies first, let's hear what your point. We actually talked about this, and I know kind of what you're going to say, but I want to hear your thoughts in real time.
He makes a very good point. If a woman is constantly, or women in general, are constantly being rude, not responding when a man just politely speaks to her, has an attitude because she is projecting past experiences onto this person, yeah, pretty soon I could see that a man says, you know what, I'm just not even going to shoot my best shot anymore because I just keep getting shot down. However, I believe that people need to look at folks as individuals. Stop putting people in to groups. So yes, okay, maybe 5 women before were rude, rolled their neck, what have you. But maybe that 6th woman was going to be completely opposite. But because you're like, well, these other 5 women shot me down and were rude, I'm not even going to go after number 6. And then you go around saying women are just rude. It's like, well, if you had taken that chance with that next person instead of projecting, you would have found out all women are not that way. And I think an alpha male, no matter how many times he gets shot down, I think he's going to just say, you know what, that was that woman. And that was woman A, woman B, C, D. I'm going to go for it and ask woman E out, and maybe it'll be a different response.
Right. Well,
I think you're the right man. Yeah, alpha male isn't going to be turned off. I don't think they're going to eventually go, you know what, I'm going to stop talking to women. If you're an alpha male, you're not. That's not going to deter you.
that's what I took away from it. He did a good job at explaining the situation and the dynamic that men experience and the relationships. How men are being dealt with today. However, I'm with you on that. I guess maybe it's from being an actor for 30 years and getting shot down all the time, and I was in sales for a while. And then let me just digress for a moment. So, I'm going to say his name. He don't care. Do you remember Jack Lightsey?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
So when I was going through my last divorce, and then I was kind of trying to date, there was a young lady that I was trying to date at Pickle Central at the time. Jack looked at me and he said, I know what you're doing wrong. And he walked away from me. I'm like, whoa, Jack, you don't just say that and walk away. So then he said basically this. He said, hey, man, look, don't chase these women. You go with the women who are checking for you. Then you pursue them. Then you court them. You let that alpha male come out. You show her why you are the one for her. But she's already responding to you, almost in the very beginning. You know what I'm saying? And something clicked on when he said that to me. Something that I've been doing, not just in that current state of post-divorce, early stages, but even in my past, women I dealt with, I was always chasing and trying to prove myself to women. Now, that's not quite on the point of this, but it does go to the point of what you said, which is if I see one woman in the grocery store, which, by the way, is one of the best places to meet a woman, I digress.
Really?
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, man. As a single man, I used to look forward to going to the grocery store just to see who I'm going to find up in there today.
You sound like my cousin who said for women, the best place or one of the best places to meet a man is Home Depot.
Yeah. I mean, Home Depot's not bad either. Any sort of grocery store, parties there depends on like a not a party nightclub party, but somebody's house. And they invite you over. Oh, it's oh my God.
Yeah.
Never had any issue meeting women. But what I found out, but what I would do sometimes is just go too far with the chase. Just calling women, they ain't calling me back. Asking them why won't you go out with me? Why? No. Sit your ass down and just check the room. Just okay, what's happening? Okay, I see you over there. Okay, let me go over and talk to you because you're looking at me and you see me looking at you, so I'm gonna go over and talk to you. So I'm not even interested in the women who are not speaking to me. I'm interested in not speaking to me. I'm interested in the women who are speaking to me.
Yeah, but you don't know until you take that first step to speak. You don't know if they're going to talk to you or not.
Well, here's the thing. So it's eye contact. So if you're in a grocery store, if you're in a grocery store, for example, and you're in the aisle walking, there's a woman walking towards you, and you see she's pretty, and she's not even looking at you.
Yeah, it's a body language.
What am I gonna do? I'm gonna hey, whoo, speak to me. Hi, do you see me? Whoo. No, I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm not. And she might be a nice person, but oh well, too bad. Next.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is, and I went through this when I was single, is so let's say you get someone's phone number, all right, and you start calling, and every time you call her, she doesn't pick up, or she takes 3 or 4 days to call you back. Next.
Yeah, but they sometimes, when I say they, and people they get their advice from the wrong folks, okay? Mm-hmm. Some of these relationship expert gurus, whatever, will be online telling women, wait 3 days before you return his call. And I'm like, I ain't got time for no games like that. If you're feeling me and you call me, I'm gonna pick up the phone if I'm available and I'm gonna talk to you. If I'm not available, I'm gonna call you back. I'm not gonna start the timer and say, well, I have to wait 3 days. Why? I ain't nobody got time to play games.
You're making my point for me. Because even if they're getting the bad advice from a relationship guru, you should have the common sense to know that if someone calls you, call the man back. You
Well,
know, even if,
they are going to call you back, but they're going to wait 3 days. But
well,
they're
then
going to
okay, then while you're waiting on 3 days, somebody else go be in the queue ahead of you. If I'm single, I'm serious.
right.
I mean, I used to do that. I mean, it's like there were women. There's a woman who I was dating before I met my wife. Well, I had met her, but we hadn't started dating yet, and I liked her.
Yeah.
The thing that kicked her out the box for me was she was supposed to call me back at a certain time. We were supposed to do a FaceTime, as a matter of fact. Time came and went, no FaceTime. Next day, no call. She's a nice person. We're still friends. You know what I'm saying? But Latanya's right there, returning my phone calls, interested. She was pretty. We were getting along. That's what happened. Literally, that's what happened.
So
Going,
how early on though should we expect that somebody, if we say, hey, we're going to FaceTime at this time, or they say, I'm going to call you back, and then they don't call you back? If you've only known them 2 weeks, is it a big deal if they say, I'm going to call you back and they don't? Or should you say, hey, you said you were going to call back and you didn't? It's only been 2 weeks now.
I don't ask questions like that. I look at behavior.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds hardcore, but then too, and I'm not trying to say that I'm perfect, but my word means something. So if you see, my thing is, and it doesn't even matter how early in the process it is.
Okay, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if you say you're gonna call me back, and we're grouping, and me and this girl were really vibing really well. I mean, it was this girl could have been the one. Seriously. I mean, listen, I don't know, now because I've been married to somebody else for 9 years, but it was grooving on that track. It was that like that.
Okay.
So we're having a conversation, and she had kids, and she had to do something, and that's cool. She said, I'm gonna call you back when I FaceTime you or whatever it was at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock comes, nothing.
But she has kids. Something could have came up with the kids.
Hold on. No, I get it. No text, no call. 11 o'clock. Next day, no text, no call. Sorry. And if you have kids, and if you have, I'm not even suggesting that she didn't have a good reason. I'm sure she did. I don't think it was volitional. Yeah. Okay. But what I'm saying is that that's what I'm looking at. And here's the other thing that I'll say. And there was another video, if you send it or not. And this is where a lot of women miss it. Men have options too. Women always talk about they look for this from a man. He needs to do this. He needs to, treat her with all these different things right. That's true. Well, the man response is everything. You never hear the whole thing about laugh at my jokes. That's a type of response. Yeah. How you look at me, what you say about me. In my case, where I was at the time, it was how you talked about me to me.
I like that. Well, let me go back to your other point about her not FaceTiming you at the time that you guys said. I'm big on communication and comprehension, okay? Right. So if she was unable to do that and maybe she couldn't get to the phone right then, when you woke up in the morning, to me, you should have had a text that said, sorry, I was unable to, I apologize for not being able to FaceTime you.
I agree.
Just courtesy, because I'm like, life happens, things come up, no worries, change of plans, but communicate that in a manner that I comprehend it. And that to me was, I don't have a problem that she couldn't make it happen, but that she did not communicate that to you.
That would have been sufficient. That would have been sufficient, Orianna.
Yeah.
It was not about her missing the FaceTime call. Because I agree, things happen.
Yeah, communicate though.
But let me know, and I just didn't hear from her. And here's the thing too, I'm not one of the kind of guys, I have friends like this who I tell them all the time, don't be that way. They want a woman to call them. I'm like, no, you call her. If it's every time you call her, you call her. 2 reasons why, because that's part of your job, pursuing her. Responsibility. Number 2, it's your way to gauge how she's feeling you. Because if she does not respond to your calls, you know what you're dealing with.
So that's a thing where men want women to call them?
Yeah, yeah. Or it's this way. It's like they want women to call them, like once they start, let's say that they meet a woman at a party. I've got friends.
Yeah.
I've talked to my friends about this, point blank.
Okay.
They'll meet a woman at a party, and then so they'll make the first call. They'll call her first, right? But after they've been talking for a while, they expect her to initiate some of the phone calls.
Yeah. I agree with that. Once you've been talking for a while, I feel like once you get into it where it's established that, you know what, this is going somewhere. I'm digging you, you're digging me. We've been talking on the phone for 2-3 months. Absolutely, I think she can call sometime and just be like, hey, I was thinking about you. Have a good day. I don't think anything's wrong with that.
No, I'm not saying that she can't call. I'm saying that the requirement and expectation for her to call.
Okay.
I mean, if she wants to call, yeah. I'm not saying she shouldn't call, but there's some women. There's a friend of mine. He met this woman at a party that I actually invited him to when I was in LA, and he likes her, but he says she never calls him. He also always calls her, but he does respond. When he calls her, she responds.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like she's one of these women who will not call you first, and I don't think that's indicative. Here's the thing.
If she's responding to him, then what's the problem?
But she wants him to call him sometimes because he's doing all the calling over time. So now so my whole thing is, here's what I said, we got to split this up in terms of what the issues are. Just because she's not initiating calls doesn't mean she's not interested. She may be somebody who expects you to call her.
That is true.
And I don't think that's unreasonable. I think he just wants that. He wants that type of interaction with her. But I said to him, the way to know where she stands is how she responds to you, what she says about you to you. You know, when you reveal things about yourself, how she processes that is very, very important.
And if she's answering the phone when he calls, if she's talking to him when he calls, if she's making time for him for the conversation, if she's answering the calls, she's speaking to him, she's definitely interested. Okay, you're not just calling and leaving messages and she's never returning your call. You guys are making contact and she's speaking with you. She's taking your calls, she's returning your calls, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Exactly. That's what I said. I think you heard it, but I just wanted to share that, a lot of men feel that way. And it kind of goes back to, the alpha male thing that you're talking about. I've never had a problem calling a woman at all. And even if I'm the one doing all the calling, it doesn't matter. But but here's where, I have a problem. I would cut a woman off when she takes 2-3 days to call me back.
Okay.
And I have another story of a woman who I did that with that seemed interested, but every time, and the combos was cool. But, when you're single out there and you're calling someone trying to get together with them, and you call them and it takes them 3-4 days to call you back, I'm like, nah. And I'm trying to get in front of you. That's the other thing. Women complain, and we're going to go to the next video after this. They complain that men don't pursue them, off the text thread and off the IG. They don't call. They don't try to take them out. Well, I was not like that. I'm talking to you on the phone, but I'm trying to get you out. I'm trying to get you out in person.
Yes.
And I found in my limited time, because I jumped in pretty quickly, I found out that, at least in my case, and this is just my anecdotal experiences, that the women were not really, they didn't know how to handle a dude that's coming at them like that. Coming at them, legitimately coming at them, pursuing them and trying to get them out. Not texting them, engaging them. Women were who? You could see they were tripping out. It's like they weren't used to it. But yet a lot of women complain about men not engaging them. I have a theory, and this. Men will do whatever women allow.
I 100% believe that. Whatever we allow.
Whatever you
Absolutely.
allow. If you allow him to text you, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. That's right.
All right, so let's move on to the next video. So this is the video I think I want to share this one. This is going to be the love and respect one. And I want to hear your take on this. And I have to take, play this now. Go.
Needs love, a man needs respect. But it's almost easy for us to say, well, he can get my respect when he earns it. Can you imagine if your husband said she can have my love when she earns it? Just as much as women need love, your husband needs respect. Not only was he created to be able to need this, to receive it, he was built that way. He's going to be drawn to the places where he actually does receive it. That's right. Whether it's his workplace, you know, some of us are like, why is he always out of the house? Why doesn't he like to be at home? Why does he always feel so grumpy or look so grumpy when he's at home? But then for some reason, when we're out with his friends or when he's at work, he's thriving there. You see so much joy in him. It's because he's receiving respect. He's going to find respect in the relationships where he receives it. And if that's the case, we've got to figure out a way to understand that there is a true need for a man to be able to receive respect.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I hadn't seen that one.
You didn't send me that? I didn't know.
No, I didn't send you that one. Someone else said, but you know, it's true. I'm like, a man, one of his greatest needs is respect. Right. And I don't understand this thing where it's like, oh, he has to earn it. No, he doesn't. You respect the person in the grocery store. You go to the grocery store and there's somebody in line in front of you. You don't cut in front of them because you respect that they were in line ahead of you. So give respect. Now, if he loses that, then that's another thing. But to feel like somebody has to earn it and work for it, disagree with that. I agree with that lady 100%. Give respect, and men are going to thrive where they are respected.
That is so true. Okay, I'm gonna trip you up a little bit. So you said something just now, unless he does something. Did I mishear that? What did you?
No, I said that.
Okay, so expound on that part.
If you are in a relationship, or if it's just the beginning of the relationship and he says he's going to call you, he doesn't call you. There's a little, just piggyback on what we were talking about before. Or he's supposed to pick you up at 8:00 and then he doesn't pick you up at 8:00 and he doesn't call, he just doesn't show up. Mm-hmm. So he's disrespecting you, so you can pull back. If you want to have a conversation with him because you feel like, hey, he's worth it, go ahead and have that conversation, or you just pull back. You just remove yourself altogether. That's what I mean when I say you remove your respect, because you're removing yourself from the situation.
Okay, so I'm looking at this, and I see what you're saying, and I agree with you. I'm looking at this though through the context of marriage.
Oh well, through the no, you give it regardless. It's not predicated on what that person does. It's not. Once you make that vow, then you give it. Mm-hmm. You give it.
And I love how she juxtaposed the love thing. And I don't know any woman that does not need love.
Yes.
I mean, I like love, but I need respect if I'm going to be married to you, for sure. Uh-huh. And if I were, now this is, if I had to choose between love and respect, there's no discussion. You don't have to love me, just respect me.
I have heard that from many men, and I've read books and articles and listened to podcasts and videos where the men say it. Men have said that.
Yeah, and a lot of women don't listen to men, which is the other issue, is that women don't even listen, or they qualify it by saying you need to earn that respect. And that's been my experience in my own life, but it's also I've heard women say that. And that's why I love this video so much, because of the way she juxtaposes the love part and the respect part. Because it makes it very clear, you know, that if you feel you don't have to respect your husband because he has to earn it, then okay, then you have to earn his love. And no woman I know is going to agree with that. So that's why I think it's a winning video.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. I agree with you. 2 thumbs up.
Yep, 2 thumbs up. So last one before we end, I think I have to go to the cussing wives. I got to go to the cussing wives before we leave, because this is a good one, and it kind of ties into the respect. Here we go, cussing wives. Go.
I had a mouth on her. My mother was, man, I grew up around a woman we didn't go to church. I didn't have a church-going mama. Okay. Right? I mean, my mother was not that one. She was a young mama. She was a teenage mama. She liked to cuss. She cusses, all this stuff. But my mother has been married. She got married. She was married 3 times. And her last marriage was her most successful one. And what she told me was, when I got married, she said, don't cuss at your husband. She said, do your best to not cuss at your husband. I said, why not? And she said, you don't want him to cuss at you.
Right.
Right? And she said, so do your best to not, and try your best to stay a lady. Because you want him to see you as a lady. You're not trying to get him to see you as your homeboy or this and that, his homeboy, whatever. And so I try my best not to cuss now when you make me mad.
When you make me mad. I was wondering what she was going to say after that, when you make me mad, because, I know that women are more emotional and men are, I guess, generally speaking, more objective. But, when you make me mad, okay, why not look at what makes you mad? Maybe it's you. In terms of what triggers you. Maybe you should know your own triggers and figure out how to not cuss even when you get mad. But self-control is a key here. I don't know what she was gonna say, but I'll go first on this one.
Okay.
All right. So when I saw this video, I don't know how I found it. I think I just found it. My PTSD just went bonkers. I started reliving instances of being called names because of what I did for a living, or because I wasn't performing at a certain level as a money maker, and so that warranted, and then just disappointments that I'm not faulting her for, because they were real to her, but the way that it was behaved toward me was very disrespectful. And she said it in the video. She said, you don't want him cussing at you. Well, that's what I began to do. It became a very toxic and crazy environment. And I remember, this is the funny part, and I put it in my show. Whenever I would cuss her out, and we both ended up talking a lot outside to other people, she would characterize me as abusive. I'm like, what? Part of me did feel guilty because she was right, what I said to her.
But it was mutual abuse.
Yeah.
Verbal abuse was mutual. It was like,
yeah, that was my thing. I'm like, okay, I'm abusing you. Like, oh my God. So, and
the people sometimes, they have a way of like making you out to be the monster in their story, but then they never tell anybody what chapter they created the monster. They just don't.
Right.
They leave that part out.
Yeah, that's true. But the whole thing about cussing your husband out. Now, if my husband's cussing, and look, I don't want to be naive, but I know that there's some really monster, horrible dudes out there that are abusing their wives in all kinds of ways. I'm not going to diminish any of that. But in fact, if you are a man doing that, I obviously, you the lowest of the low. You coming home and cussing your wife out, just cussing at her. That's bananas to me. That's so out of the realm of my understanding. But I do know women who feel, because of their perception or disappointment in the man, that he may or may not even know he did. Sometimes the dudes don't even know it. Sometimes they do know it, and sometimes they don't. So this is the outlet, and the way to address that problem is by cussing out your husband.
A husband shouldn't be cussing at his wife, and a wife shouldn't be cussing
absolutely.
at their husband. Period.
But to the period, and I agree with that. But going back to the respect part, because interesting. Let's go back. Let's do it the other way. So if a man is cussing out his wife, is that love?
No.
So I guess it is both ways, but it just hits differently. So if a man is cussing out his wife, just coming in the crib and dinner ain't ready, where the F is my effing food?
Right.
What?
Dinner ain't effing ready yet.
What is that?
Right. Or calling her a lazy SOB or a fat blah blah blah.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And never. I would never.
But you never initiated the foul language.
No. But toward the end, it got worse. Something happened. But what would happen with me was I would have these things, but also we would make these deals. We would set up guidelines about what we're gonna do, and then we would promise each other things, and she would just break the promises over and over and over again, and then not even own it. It would be like, oh well, whatever. I'm like, oh come on, really? I mean, what am I doing here? And it was horrible. So yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, in that video, I like that she said her mother told her, "Hey, don't cuss at the husband, at your husband." I just don't like the reason. The reason saying because you don't want him cussing at you. That's not a reason not to cuss at somebody. The reason you shouldn't cuss at your husband is because you shouldn't cuss at your husband.
Right.
It's not because I don't want him to do it. It's like, no. You don't want to do it because it's not the right thing to do. You've been praying for a husband. Now you have this answered prayer in front of you and you're going to be cussing at him? It's just wrong. It's just wrong. So I agree, but don't cuss at your husband. But her reason, because you just don't want him cussing at you, that's not a good enough reason.
Well, I think it's a superficial reason. I think that she, I guess, was appealing to, a very surface thing that she knew her daughter could connect to. Maybe because she could connect to it. Maybe she don't like being cussed at. And you're right.
From her, that could be the mom's experience too. I mean, she probably cussed out the first two husbands and they left her. And so she's just telling her daughter that, hey, this is what happened. That they were cussing at me because I was cussing at them. So just don't do it. So yeah, she was probably speaking definitely from her experience.
I can't speak for, the impact that cussing your wife out has on the wife. But I can tell you that there's nothing more emasculating than that. Mm-hmm. And the PTSD is real because you leave that situation and you question yourself, it's like, could I ever be a husband to anybody? Was I that bad? Who would want me now? Those kinds of questions.
Yeah, people don't understand.
And
words have power and they're soul crushing. They crush your soul.
Yeah, and that's what I experienced.
Yeah, and I shared with you before with my late husband was in a men's Bible study at our former church. You and I used to go to this church, and he would come home and tell me there was this guy. The guy was so dejected every week because he'd be telling the men how his wife just cusses him out. Right. So they'd be trying to give him advice and pump him up, encourage him. But it was every week. And, and my husband, I told you, he didn't want to tell me who it was because I knew the wife. And I was floored. I mean, these people are active at the church, very involved. I knew them. I said, you know what? You do not know what's going on behind closed doors. But I never looked at her the same. I never said anything about it, but I never looked at her the same. And I'm like, and I know he wasn't cussing at her like that because I was like, how was she just going out? It was always because maybe he didn't do something. And then she would be mad. And that was how she expressed her disappointment and her anger.
That's what I'm saying. And again, I'm not saying that men should cuss their wives out, but this story you just described was my story. And I know others who have gone through that. And men, because we're men, we're not supposed to, talk about how we've been emasculated and how hurt we are, because that's not what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's just right.
But thank God. But the silver lining is, so I'll be married to Latanya
9 years this December.
9 years in December.
Yeah.
Not one name call, not one cuss out, not one. I mean, has she been mad at me? Yeah. Have I been mad at her? Not as often. But man, Nothing of the sort. And I am pretty much with the aside that I'm a little chilled, I'm a little older. I'm the same cat. I'm the same dude doing the same thing.
Yeah. And that's how it's supposed to be. I mean, I was married 13 years. Thomas never cussed at me.
Of course
I never
he did.
cussed at him. It's unnecessary and it's disrespectful.
Yeah. So, well, Orianna, we're at the 35-minute mark. If I can't see, it's 35. See, I did this whole thing without my glasses, which is amazing because I can't see. But I didn't want the ring light, reflection in my glasses for this thing. But thank you so much for coming to Twice Married Brother podcast.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me on. This was a great conversation. I love talking about relationships and the dynamic between women and men. I love it.
Me too. So maybe we'll have you back on another time and keep sending the videos and keep trucking. Thank you, Orianna. And there she goes. Bye. See you later.
Carl.
Thank you. Remove from stream. There she goes. Twice Married Brother podcast is available on YouTube. You're watching it right now. Please subscribe. subscribe, and share so you know when we drop our next video. Be blessed. Carl Gilliard. Peace. 2 fingers.